Okay, sixth graders, this is a quick recording on 6.3 box and whisker plots. And essentially what we're doing here is looking at variation. Our first two lessons look at measures of center and thinking about mean, median, mode. And today we're going to look at box plots and kind of expand on this idea of like measures of center. Okay, so what I'm going to do first is kind of just work with the definitions. So what is a box and whisker plot? So this is a way of displaying data using greatest and least values, the median, and something we call quartiles. Okay. All right. So that's the definition. And so this is kind of what we're creating in 6.3, something called a box and whisker plot. And in those plots, there's kind of like a few different things to note. There's something called quartiles and something called quartile range. And those are all new things for you guys to hear. So what is a quartile? Essentially, quartiles are three values in your box and whisker plots. Okay, it's going to be something called well, you know about the median, so it includes the median. And there are also two more values which divide the data set into quarters, okay? And when we actually do it, you'll see what I mean. I'll refer back to this definition. Okay, interquartile range basically is the distance between what we call the first and the third quartile. But you're going to want to know what those are. Okay, so let's kind of look at this now. Okay, and I'll redefine variation in a second. So this is a data set that is in your notes already, these numbers, okay? And it was data for how long people or students were watching TV. So the first thing you need to do, because you have to calculate a median when you do a box and whisker plot. So the first thing we got to do is reorder the numbers from least to greatest, okay? So we got to go 1, 1, and 2, 2, 2, 2. And if I keep looking at this, is that all the 2s? No, there's 5 2s. And then there's a 3. And then there's a 5. Okay. All right. So I think that is all the data kind of reorganized. So the first thing you want to do is calculate or determine the median. Since there are 9 values, number 2 here, this is my median. Okay. All right. After you determine the median, you have to find 2 other values. Okay. So there's the first kind of section here, and then another section here, which is kind of outside, say to the left and to the right of the median. So what you need to do in a box and whisker plot is calculate or determine a second and a third median. Okay, so if I look at these numbers, 1, 1, 2, and 2, what would be the median for that data set of 4? Okay, and that would be 1.5. Okay, because there's only 4 entries, so I have to do the average of 1 and 2, which is 1.5. This is kind of like a second median. Okay, and I will just call it that for right now, even though it's actually not called that officially. In the right half here, I have 2, 2, 3, and 5. So again, I need to find a median between those 4 entries. And since it's 2 and 3 as the second and third entry, that median is 2.5, like so. And we might say this is like a third median. Okay. Okay, and even though that's not actually not the first, that's not exactly the official name. Okay, so we have the regular median, we have the second one, and this third. So what are all these things? Okay, so when you actually do a box and whisker plot, what you're supposed to do is actually create a box like so. And then you have kind of like two ends to your box, right? And these two ends of your box, those are going to be the second and the third median. Okay, so this is going to be 1.5 here. If I drew a number line like this on the bottom, the edge of the box would always be between the second and the third median. So this is like 1.5, 2.5. In the middle of the box, well, it's whatever the median was, and in this case, it was 2. So it's not perfect, but it would be the edge, sorry, the middle of the box. So there's my box. And the next thing you're supposed to do is determine the length of your, what we call the whiskers in the box here. So I'm going to erase this just a bit, erase this as well. So how long are the whiskers? The whiskers just happen to be the length of your smallest and largest value. So my largest value is 1, or sorry, my smallest value is 1, my largest value is 5. So if I go back here, like so, and draw 1, and that's to scale, that would be my 1 whisker on the left. And then if I just to draw this to scale over here, and unfortunately I got cut off, that would be my other whisker here, which I'll have to draw. That represents the 5 here. Okay. And what is the point of all this? Well, it's kind of an introduction to what we call variation. I didn't want to erase that. So variation, again, is what we talked about, difference in a pattern. And essentially, another way to say it is how far the data is spread out, okay? And so when we look at our picture here of the box and then the whiskers, it's actually an indicator of how spread this data is. And we'll talk about that more on Wednesday. All I need you guys to do is to, again, write out these notes. And this picture of the box and whisker here, this you can actually place at the bottom of your note page. I think, I don't have it in front of me, but it might be cut off right now. Okay, that's it. And thanks for listening.